If the Hollow Hearts attack again, we will be ready.
Alright. Hey guys, this is Shroomy, Mushroom, Shroomster. I have a lot of different names, and I just really like lore. So, this time, I wanted to do a different video once again, and instead I wanted to look at all of the Mythic skins, and I wanted to rank them by their AUs and their stories. So, a little bit of a spin on the whole, like, Mythics ranking thing. I only really like a couple of the Mythics personally, like, you can probably tell which ones I like just by if you know me. So, I wanted to just rank specifically the stories of them. So, this video is going to be a little bit different once again, like I said. I'm going to go into each one as I go through, and we're going to be ranking them from bad to meh, to good in terms of story, and then Mythic is like what I think every Mythic should strive to have. So the categories for these, we're not going to go too deep into it. It's just like if they have a comic, they're probably going to be in the higher tiers. If they don't have a comic, they're probably going to be in the lower tiers, stuff like that. This is not going to be including Mythic weapons, because Mythic weapons they're a whole other can of worms, and they don't really have a story to them. So we're just going to be focusing on these, and yeah. So we're going to start, and we're going to go in seasonal order. Obviously, I had to add some of these as we went on, so let's get right into it. So, for the first one, Genji, the Genji Mythic. Whoa, wow. This was their first one, so it doesn't really have much of a story. It's just kind of got the theme of like a cyberpunkish, like sci-fi-ish kind of aesthetic. Really cool looking skin. I love this one, how it looks. But it doesn't really have a lot going on in terms of an AU, so this is actually pretty hard. I think I'll give them the benefit of the doubt because it was the first one, and I'm just going to put it in meh, because it definitely belongs here, I think, in bad in terms of story. But hey, I think it was their first. We'll give them a break. So, next up is Junker Queen. Junker Queen's her Zeus skin. Love the theming. I think she deserves this. I think it's great. 10 out of 10 on that part. This one has an actual story. There's an AU to it. So if you didn't know, in Season 2 of Overwatch 2, they did a Greek gods AU, basically, where a ton of the heroes were different gods from the Greek pantheon, and Zeus was Junker Queen. And the whole story of it was basically Zeus was hosting a competition, and that was the PvP mode you played in-game, and whoever won got a sweet little statue on Ilios, and there was an Ilios statue that was there for, I think Junker Queen ended up winning, so it was there for her. This one, I think, has a very good AU story. I don't think it's Mythic tier yet, and I'll explain that when we get to one that goes up there, but I think it's really good. I think the only really things it's missing are things I'll talk about in Mythic tier, but this is when they started to pick up their stride here. I think it's pretty good. It's not perfect, it's pretty good though. And of course, skin like design aside, but just the story and stuff. I love the voice lines that this season had. It had a ton of voice lines for the skins, but once again, I think they could have done a lot better in terms of like the overall AU and the feeling of it. Especially when I loaded up, I didn't really feel like there was an AU. I kind of just felt like a theme. But yeah, so I'm putting her in good tier. So next is Season 3 with Kurico. Woo, Kurico's Mythic. I'm gonna be real with you guys. This one has very little unique lines. There isn't really a story to the theming. It's just a theming. This is gonna be our first bad, sadly. I think the Mythic Kurico skin in terms of a story in AU is pretty terrible. There's not really anything going on around it. The skin itself looks pretty good. It looks decent. But in terms of story, there really isn't a lot there. And they could have done a lot better there, I think, because they have a couple skins in that skin line of like that Japanese god pantheon that I don't think is done fully justice. But yeah, so that one unfortunately is going to be going there. Sorry. Yeah, so I guess I'll just explain too with bad real quick. Bad, we're really only gonna put the ones that have like no story in them in bad. So yeah, that is Kurico's Mythic. But next, we come out swinging with Sigma's Mythic and Starwatch. Starwatch, instant Mythic tier. This AU was genuinely perfect. It had a game mode. It had a comic that changed depending on which side won the game mode in the end. The skins have unique dialogue. They all have unique interactions with each other when you play the game mode. The map was unique just for the mode. It was perfect. Well, unique enough, but it was perfect. Perfect. This is the tier that I think of when I think of a Mythic skin, and it's AU. Sigma in this was amazing. Galactic Emperor Sigma looks great. He has so many unique lines. He's a central figure in this AU. It's just, chef's kiss. I don't think we're going to be seeing Star Watch ever again because of some licensing stuff and copyright issues that they had. But this AU is great. I have no complaints with it. I think this is the exact perfect way you should do an AU. And yeah, it combined both the external media with comics and story and all that with the internal media of like the gameplay and making a mode and all that stuff. Cannot sing its praises enough. It is a Mythic tier skin. So next up, Tracer and her Adventurer skin for Quest Watch. I have a soft spot for this one, but I'm going to try not to let that judge too hard. This one was very, very, very good because it actually did the only season it did this. There was a story on the Battle Pass with a ton of text. It was great to listen to. I also love the roster of characters who were in this because it's a bit more unique than most. Like Orisa was in it, which she's not in like any AUs really, aside for her Mythic, but we'll get to that later. I think that this Quest Watch one, I really wish they went back to this format on the Battle Pass of having the AU on the Battle Pass in that way or telling that story through there. This one, I think it's good. I don't think it's Mythic tier because it's definitely missing a ton of those unique voice lines and stuff, and especially missing like the super unique modes. It did have a mode this season where Reinhardt was like the big boss, but it was more of a creator-made mode. I believe the mode was like one boss versus like 4 adventures or whatever. Super fun with the D&D aesthetic, but sadly, I don't think it hits that Mythic tier. They were close. They just had to put a little bit more in. They were close. Yeah. So this one, solid good tier. I think it's a pretty decent one. Next up is my personal favorite Mythic skin, Ana's Mythic skin. So this one is weird in the sense of it is canon, but it is not canon. It exists in a place where you can consider it to be canon to the main storyline. So it's not really an AU on its own here. You can kind of see it as canon if you want. So it's really hard to rank it on the good, bad, Mythic scale here. Personally, I think the theming of this skin, and it even has in-game a little blurb about who it is, like the lore of it is, it's a copy of Ana Amari turned into this robot, and it has memories of her and fragments of her, of who she was. It's really, really, really interesting, and it has so many unique lines, but unfortunately, the only thing I deduct here is it's not really part of a broader skin line AU. There's a couple other skins in this Null Sector theme where they become Null Sector robots, but none of them talk except for her. But because it's the only skin that I could see being canon in a way, I think this is going to be my only exception here with these. This is going in Mythic tier. So this one, as I've said, the theming is perfect. I think the skin itself is great, but the voice lines completely make me feel like this is a Mythic skin. It makes me want to hear so much more about this AU, or well, this part of the canon, I should say. If you look at it that way, it's perfect. Perfect. Yeah, so it's a Mythic tier. Next up is Hanzo. So Hanzo, his skin released in, I think it was season 7, yeah, because this Orisa was 8. It was season 7. His is weird. His is the only one that's really in this style. There's a couple others that are here and there, but his is the only one that really is like on that skin line. I think the skin itself is pretty decent. I actually do like the skin, but I think the only part that we're going to be ranking here is it has unique lines, but not many. So it feels like a very half-baked AU. He's like this undead soldier or like ghost that's constantly looking for vengeance. He had a cool horse. He has these lines with Genji and Kurico, I believe. It's been a while since I looked at that. But yeah, I don't think it's bad because it has teases of an AU, but it's definitely not good. I think it's just it's okay. They could have done a lot better. Could have done way better with it. Yeah, Hanzo's is going in okay for his AU. Next up, Orisa. So Orisa's is another really interesting one. She is not like everyone else on this list, where she basically, her AU is not told directly. It's told only through the banners, name cards, profile icons, and skins themselves, right? So Orisa actually doesn't have like any unique dialogue or like interactions, I should say. She has like the traditional unique stuff, but nothing like to other characters really, aside from one or two. So definitely could have done better there. The story of the Hunt AU is basically like 4 beasts are competing to see who will become the new Grand Beast, I believe, and then the hunters are, I think it was Malga, Junker Queen, and Anna and Widowmaker, I think, and they all apparently maybe they hunted the Grand Beast in the past, and that's why there's a power vacuum. But they're also helping other Grand Beasts become the new Grand Beast. It's kind of a mess. It's kind of a mess, but I have a soft spot for it because I think it's a really cool AU, but they didn't really do anything much with it. So obviously, none of that is really confirmed as well, by the way, I should say. That's just mostly what I think is supposed to be going on. So with that, all of that in mind, sadly, I know I said this tier is really only for Mythic skins, the bad tier that doesn't have an AU. I think Orisa goes in bad. She doesn't have a lot going for her in this AU, and you have to look at basically everything around her. Even her own mode, there's no lore in it really. She had a unique mode where she was a monster, and she had like 4 hunters fighting with her. There's nothing in it really. It's just kind of generic. Even the map you play on is just Junkertown, or sorry, New Junk City. It's not very enticing. So sadly, I'm gonna have to put her in bad. Next up, Moira, the Ancient Caller. I'm just gonna be honest with you. The only thing this one is missing is it's just missing that connection to the AU it's a part of a bit more, and it's missing those unique lines. However, Cosmic Crisis has an AU where it's like basically a ton of the heroes become these cosmic creatures basically, and Ramatra's a big hole in the ground. He's the hole. I'm not calling it the name that everyone calls it. But yeah, so basically I think this one for theming and the AU it's around it, I think it's Mythic tier. And I say that because, like I just said, I think the AU around it is really, really, really good. It has a unique mode. Everything with it is good. The only thing it's missing is it's missing unique lines. You know what? Actually, I'm dropping it down to good. I think it's probably gonna be sitting here if I had to put it right next to Queen. The only thing it's missing is more unique lines. That's literally it, and it's perfect. I think the AU, the Cosmic Crisis AU, is really neat about the heroes getting stuck on this alien planet, kind of, and they have to fight their way out. And the mode itself was really fun, where you got to choose one person who basically betrayed the group. And you could betray the group, you didn't have to. But once again, I think for the AU with the skin itself, Moira, she just needed like a little bit more pizzazz, basically. I think she just needed a little bit more, and for that, we are putting her in good. All right. Next up, Mercy and Mirror Watch. It's Mythic. I don't think I have to really explain it very much. She has a ton of unique like lines. Her theming is on par with the Mirror Watch AU, where it's like an inverse, so she's like the leader of Talon. There was so much lore with that entire section. It honestly, it might be the best Mythic in terms of like story and lore combined with everything. There was so much there that season that we got so much random little pockets of lore, like so many interesting things, like Reinhardt and Anna being in Talon, but also this weird connection between the two of them, where like she helped turn him into this monster, or like how apparently Tracer killed Ramatra in this universe, or did that. Apparently that's a thing. So it's a really interesting universe that I wish they would go back to. I would love to see more of it, and I think the Mercy Mythic itself is actually pretty good. So in total, I'm gonna put that in Mythic tier. Woo! Mercy goes to Mythic. All right, next up, Ashe, and she was part of the fun little Power Rangers AU idea. Ashe and the season itself, I think the lines and stuff could have been a lot stronger. I think The theming was there, but I don't think it was done to its max potential. Definitely wish they had done more with it. So, unfortunately, I don't have a lot to say about it because the AU is kind of Power Rangers pretty much, which is a really good AU, don't get me wrong, but we don't really get to see how the characters really interact with each other in this AU. It just kind of me is like, oh, it's a Saturday morning cartoon, it's Power Rangers. So, with that, I think Ash is going in meh. I think it goes in meh. There isn't a lot to the story surrounding her here. She's just kinda here. And the skin itself is good. I think they could have done a lot better with just the AU itself and around it. Some maybe definitely add more voice work if they can to these. I think the biggest thing with everything in meh and bad is just they need more voice work. But yeah, so just kind of in meh tier. Ash goes to meh. Next up, Reaper. Woo! Reaper and the Season 12 Mythic Anubis Reaper wasn't really tied to an AU. This is the point where they started to really decouple them from AUs for the most part, which makes me kind of sad. So, unfortunately, I think Reaper goes in bad for the story in AU here. He just doesn't have a lot going on with him. He doesn't have many unique lines. He is just Reaper, but Anubis. I really wish they had done more with the AU, the Egyptian god AU surrounding it. Kind of like what they did with Junker Queen and her stuff in the Greek AU, but they didn't really do it. So unfortunately, Reaper is going to bad. Rip, rip, rip. Next up, though, is Widowmaker. Oh my gosh, Widowmaker. Wow, bad. Her AU doesn't really exist, unfortunately. I really, really wish there was more to it because I like this skin a lot. I'm one of the people who really like it, and I just wish there was more to it in general. I think this AU, this kind of fantasy wizard stuff is pretty neat, but once again, didn't really touch on it much. Widowmaker herself here doesn't have many unique lines. There's no comics, no story, no anything. It was just a cool little theme, which is disappointing because I wish there was more out of it. So unfortunately, Widowmaker is going to bad tier. Sorry. Next up, specifically for, keep in mind, these are specifically for AUs, Zenyatta. Wow, it's Zen. Yeah, this one's gonna be painful, but for story and lore and stuff, he goes in bad. I think that AU, or that skin, I guess, doesn't really have an AU to it. There's no really other skins that are in that line. Well, there's a couple, I should say. There's a couple, but very segmented and fragmented away from each other. Zen only has a couple unique lines here. There's no comic, there's no mode, there's no story stuff. He's an Azure Dragon. That's kind of it. So it's definitely a good looking skin, and I should say everything in bad looks pretty good, but for specifically story, I would say it's in bad. As you can see, we've kind of gotten to the point where AUs kind of just stopped happening for a little while. Like a Reaper, Widowmaker, Zenyatta, and even Reinhardt we'll get to, they don't really have AUs. They just look cool. So, unfortunately, we're kind of on a bad track here, but it's going in bad. Zenyatta goes in bad tier. Alright. Next up, Reinhardt. Like I just said there, Reinhardt unfortunately suffers from the thing that everyone else did. He suffers from the issue of he is Reinhardt. He is a Norse god in this. The AU practically doesn't exist. He doesn't have many unique lines unique to this AU. He just kind of has generic Norse god lines and Reinhardt lines. There's no comic. There's no mode. It's just Norse Reinhardt Thor thing. So, unfortunately, Reinhardt is going in bad tier. I wish I could do him more justice here. I wish I could do all these guys more justice. But in terms of AU story, this is pretty much it. These guys are what we got. So, unfortunate, but I really wish they would make these AUs a bit better if they ever return to these ideas in the future and expand on them, because the skins are great. It's just the story around them is practically non-existent, and I wish there was more. So, next up, we are getting to basically almost the present, basically. Oh yeah, I did these two backwards. Lol, I just realized. But, yeah, next up, Doki Watch with Juno. Mythic tier, instantly. I think the only thing she's really lacking is a bit more voice lines, but even then I think I'm being a little picky, because she does have a lot of pretty good lines for this AU and just her character. But, like I said, this one in particular they could have done more lines with. The only reason it's not in good tier is it is solely... Well, actually, hold on. You know what? Shocking, I know. I think the Juno skin goes in good tier, actually. Shocking. I just changed my mind on the fly. Didn't expect that, did you? But yeah, I think the AU is very good. She doesn't have a lot of unique lines. She has a couple that are pretty good, but not a lot. There's no game mode. There was a comic, which is pretty rare in this day and age, so that was pretty good. Good job, Juno. But yeah, I think they could have done a lot better with the AU. I think they kind of teased in the past that they're going to return to it eventually. So, hey, maybe we get a part 2 to the comic. Maybe I'll bump it up to Mythic if we get more lines and stuff in a game mode. But for now, it's a very solid good tier. It's on that cusp. It's on that grasp of just hitting Mythic. It's not there yet, though. So, a solid good tier. All right. Now, the last one that we're going to be talking about today is the most recent one that was revealed, the Sojourn Mythic. So, obviously, at the time of me recording this, the season is not out yet, but we do know that Sojourn is a part of some AU in the season. She's apparently a Titan Sentinel or something from a future without heroes fighting the Spectres of War. Really cool idea of just the cybernetic warrior being the last bastion. I get it. The last bastion of hope for humanity. Really like the theming. I think it's solid. However, because I can't really rank it yet, because I'm not sure what the voice work looks like, and I'm not sure what the AU will be for her season, I think I'm just gonna put her in. I think I'm gonna put her at the last place of good, because even getting what she has so far is a lot better than most of these, which is just a bio. So she's in a good tier. Minor addition, guys. Sorry for the cut. I forgot about Diva's Mythic. Yeah, I know. I think I forgot because I don't really, there's not a lot of a story to it. It kind of has the issue that all these other ones do. It has a lot of good voice work in it, though, I will give it that. But it goes in bad tier, just for context. There's not a lot I can talk about with it. There's not really an AU to it, so that's why Diva's not in the rest of the video. But, yeah. So Diva's Mythic would go in bad tier. Just imagine it's there for the rest of the video, okay? Thank you, guys. Sorry about that. Haha. Anyways, yeah, that's it. Bye. And with that, and with that, that is our list. Yes, that is our fun little list here of all of the Mythic skins. Let me know if you would change anything for my list here. Keep in mind, all of these are just the iconic AUs, not really the skins themselves. I hope you learned something about the AUs. If you have questions about any of the AUs in particular, let me know. Try not to go too deep into them because, like I said, a lot of these don't really have them, but I know some people really are interested in hearing more about them. You can find a lot of that stuff online on like Twitter and stuff. But yeah, so that is our tier list. Let me know what you liked, disliked, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. I think I'll do more tier lists in the future because this was really fun. Let me know what you like, what you hated, and yeah, I hope you learned something, and I will talk to all of you in the next one.